wait till I do an episode with my man bun.
Oh, snap.
Look how long this is.
It's not looking good. We're not.
It looks fantastic.
Look, no one's gonna be honest with you like I'm honest with you.
It's long, huh? Oh, I forgot to put my hat on.
Yes, let's not forget to put that
We had everything going against us.
on. Yeah, we were young, we were broke, we didn't know anything about business. We literally started from nothing.
We were never supposed to make it.
What's up, guys?
Hey,
Welcome
what's up, guys?
back.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
This is Win Anyway, episode number 37.
Nice.
So if you've missed some, feel free to go back and listen to the other ones. So we're on episode number 37. And for those of you guys who are just new to our podcast, YouTube, Spotify, whatever you're listening on, this is a podcast, business related, specifically to, whatever is going on in your life, whatever circumstances are happening around you. We want to encourage you to push past them and win anyway. So
Yes. And we should talk about that for 2 seconds because we haven't in a while.
okay.
About why we named it Win Anyway.
Yeah.
Where did that name come from?
Where did it come from?
Yeah. How did we come to that?
Well, because a lot of times I think in life, we just let life happen to us. So we're kind of like a tumbleweed, just going wherever the wind takes us. And we want you to be able to take control over your life, take control over your wins, take control over your finance, your fitness, your health, everything about your life. You have a certain amount of control over what happens. And so we want you to embrace that and drop the excuses, no BS, and just make it happen.
Yep. And I'll tell you, I was, when Jay Justin, our producer, had said, hey, let's do a podcast. You should do a podcast. I'm like, all right, well, what should we name it? And I think we had come up with a couple different names. I don't remember what they were. But it didn't take long to come up with this one. I was like, how about Win Anyway? Win Anyway. And he's like, yeah, that's good. And the whole point of it is that, our journey in business hasn't been easy. It hasn't been all good. It's been really freaking good. I'm not going to lie to you, but it hasn't been perfect. We've had some times where the business just really kicked us in the face. And so the whole point behind this podcast is that it's not going to be easy for anybody. So some people it is easier than others. We're not going to lie. But the point is that regardless, no matter what, you got to win anyway. And you got to find a way to win no matter what. Because it's really the only outcome that you will accept, hopefully, is that you're winning. Now, winning is relative. It's different for everybody. One person's dream is another person's nightmare, and vice versa, because we go through different stages. But whether or not you're winning is ultimately in your control, and that's the whole point.
Yes, absolutely.
So what are we talking about today?
So today we're talking about working outside of your schedule.
Right. Now, this is a topic that I'm passionate about.
He is very passionate about it.
I just did a whole general training on this with our team. And I'll tell you why. When I'm doing my workouts or whatever, it's good. I get to spend time thinking, and I get to spend time growing and working on me. And I was talking to one of my guys. I don't remember who it was. Frank, Joey, Elias, one of them. Maybe it's Yossi, actually. And I told him, I said, hey, look, here's the thing. Oh, you know what? I remember exactly how it came up. I'm not going to tell you how, because I'm not going to throw people under the bus. But I was talking about a couple people, different people on the team, and like what's their strength, what are their flaws, why aren't they winning where they want to be. And as I'm walking through it, I realized I start thinking about like us in the beginning of our career. And looking back. And then when you do that, it's a cool thing. It's a powerful thing because you look back and you start to think about all the different things you've been through in the business, the different things that you've gone through, the different moments. You remember moments in your business. I challenge you guys to kind of diary or journal your experiences in the business. But too many people, they only work when they have appointments. They only work based on what's on their calendar. And that's why they get stuck. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you only work with what's on your schedule, for example, you wake up in the morning, you look at your calendar, you go, okay, today I've got a 2, 3, 4, and a 6. Mm-hmm. So your average employee mentality, like that's just how they think, which is an employee clocks in and clocks out. So you come to WFG, you come to business, you go into entrepreneurship, you start your own fitness company, you start your own supplement company, you start your own social media marketing agency, whatever you do. If you do that with the same mindset you had as an employee, it's not going to work.
So in that example that you gave, people were as a 2, a 4, and a 6. So you're saying people who are used to kind of thinking more of an employee mindset, they're starting their day when?
Like 1:45, especially during quarantine. They're like, all right, 1:45, boxers on, dress shirt and tie, and they sit in front of the Zoom, and then that's all they do. They run their 2, they run their 4, their 6 cancels, and they're done.
And that's it.
They're freaking done, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So
And that's what I mean, is that it's that they only work on their schedule. You understand the title of this episode is to work outside of your schedule.
So what kind of a result does that produce?
Dude,
because obviously they're going to, we've had, our teammates say, like, I'm working, I have appointments on the calendar. I run my appointments. So, why aren't I growing?
Because the winning big, like I'm talking big, by the way, in WFG, we're winning. Okay. But we're not where we want to be. Now in life, outside of the business, like we're in the top 1% in the country and still not where we want to be. It's very relative. Mm-hmm. People go, is $100,000 a lot? I say $100,000 is a lot till you make it. Once you make it, it's not a lot anymore. Same thing with $250,000, same thing with $500,000, But winning big, it starts in the mentality. I wish I would have learned this so much sooner, but it's the mentality of this isn't what I do. I'm not an employee. This is freaking who I am. This is what I do 24/7, 365. Now, most people go, they're listening to this right now and they go, yeah, that's how I am. But no, this is my life. This is my obsession. This is my future. So I don't just wake up and run my appointments. See, an employee wakes up, they run their appointments, they run whatever's on their schedule, and then when it's done, they're done. Mm-hmm. And then they go and they do other stuff. All right, I'm going to go to the gym now. I'm going to go out to dinner tonight. I'm going to go to the movies. I'm going to drive to the beach. I'm going to, they go do other stuff. But the person who gets big is a person that is freaking in love with the game, the sport. The actual business, where it's not Kobe. What made Kobe is that he was in the gym 3 to 4 hours before his team even got there for practice.
So let me ask you this, because, sometimes, a lot of times it doesn't matter what business it is, when people start a business, sometimes they get really enthusiastic about using the label as an entrepreneur. I'm a business owner, I'm in business. And so they take the extreme position and say, oh, well, you're just you have an employee mindset. They say it in a very negative connotation, right? Like that's a bad thing. Like you being an employee and having that set of habits and that set of routines is a bad thing. But in actuality, I think you can use those same habits that you have acquired, as being a good employee, because for a lot of us, at some point, that was a necessary skill that we needed to have, right? Showing up, getting the job done. Right? Different, like taking instruction. Those are all good things you can transfer here. So how would somebody transfer over those, employee mindsets and skills and apply it to their business? You
have to, the employee mentality, the employee works because they have a boss. Mm-hmm. That's why they work. So in business, what we always say is I'm my own boss, but then you're the shittiest boss ever.
Yeah.
You are the boss that allows you to not show up to work.
Right.
Well, that doesn't work if you have a job. The reason an employee works is because they have a boss.
Yeah.
And if they don't work, they get fired. Now, some people are like, no, I work because I'm an honest person. And I feel like if I'm in the break room all day, I'm stealing from the company. Great. You're 1 out of 1,000,000 people who think that way. So you could pat yourself on the back for that all day. But take that same freaking mindset and put it here. I tell people, don't work harder for someone else than you work for yourself. Don't work 40, 50, 60 hours a week. You're the freaking super employee of the year. And then you're too tired to make a couple phone calls and book some appointments here for you.
Yeah.
And so it's that same discipline where you come here and you become your own boss. But really what it is it's the hunger. No one should have to boss you around and tell you to do it. No one had to boss Kobe around and tell him to go to practice. He went to practice because it was a hunger. See, for me, it's an obsession of I want to get better. Every dollar counts. People say like the love of money. Money is the root of all evil. That's BS. Like I freaking love to make money. You know what I mean? Now, it's the pursuit of taking care of my family. Money's not going to make you happy. It's not going to satisfy you. It's not going to fulfill you. It's not going to give you purpose. But it's also not a bad thing. There's no reason you shouldn't chase after it. There's no reason you shouldn't work for it. It's the I deserve a better lifestyle. It's when your family's sick and you have a big stack of cash, they will take that at the hospital. When you got to get medication, they will take that as payment. When you go to Whole Foods or Sprouts, they will take that as payment. You know what I mean? So it's the constant hustle of I want to improve, which is what working outside of your calendar means.
Yeah.
It's working towards wealth. It's working towards the big picture. What's the big picture? What do you think life would look like in 5-10 years from today? No, I'm asking you. What do you think? Yeah. 5 to 10 years from now, where are we at in business?
5 to 10 years. I mean, the goal that we've always said is like, hey, you know, making $1 million to a couple $1 million a month would be a very, very, you know, comfortable place to be in.
Right.
Where there's not a lot you can't do with that sort of cash flow coming into your, you know, organization. And so I feel like that's the number that pops into my head.
But if I just wake up and run whatever's on the calendar for the day and then I'm done and I'm not doing calendar generating activity, business generating activity, then what? Then we're not going to get there. We're going to make a couple grand every month and that's it. But that's what most people do.
Yeah. So I think, you know, what he's saying to kind of summarize is number one, you know, is your schedule matching your end goal? So for a lot of you guys, maybe you're, you know, doing business part-time. Maybe your goal is only to make, you know, an extra $1,000 to $5,000 a month. And so maybe right now your calendar is reflecting that and that's okay. You know, I think that's okay. Whatever your end goal is, if you're just looking to make a little extra money, you know, to make your life a little bit more comfortable, you don't have to think about, you know, the prices when you go to the grocery store, then cool. You know what? I'm happy for you. Congratulations.
Right.
If your goal is something bigger where you're like, hey, you know what? I just want to be able to work for the next 10 years, really grind it out, and then just travel the world or do whatever I want, support my family, contribute to nonprofit organizations or run my own. If you got a bigger goal like that, then hey, your work and your schedule is definitely needing to match that.
Right.
And the second thing that he talked about was, you know, being a good boss, because right now maybe you're a bad boss to yourself. And so being a better boss means, hey, maybe you're putting yourself on a schedule just like you would have been if you were working a job.
Exactly.
So saying, all right, this is my calendar. My day starts at 8 or 9, whatever, you know, my work day. And my schedule starts at 9 for work. And it ends at, you know, whatever time that ends up being in reflecting what the end goal is.
Right. And it's that hunger, like she's saying, of I don't just wake up and run my appointments and I'm done. Mm-hmm. Like that doesn't work. You know what I mean? It doesn't work. It's a constant, I've constantly have to be building something. I'm putting something into the pipeline. You know, when my appointments are done, then I'm not done. Like now I'm on the grind. You know what I mean? It's like now I'm free to build my business. I don't consider me running appointments me building my business. I'm running appointments. That's just the daily task that has to come in that 9 to 5 type of thing. You know? Like that's the actual job. It's like, all right, here I go. Running appointment. exchanging a service for a profit. Like that's all I'm doing. That's the hustle.
Yes.
The barber cutting your hair.
Yes. Yeah.
But the barber makes all his money when he's not cutting the hair because he's building his brand. He's getting referrals. He's marketing his business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's why one barber makes $2 million a year cutting Khaled's hair, and the other barber down the street in Pomona makes $8 a haircut.
Right.
Well, they're doing the same damn thing. But the difference is one guy considered the haircut the work. The other guy said, no, I'm going to cut hair, but I'm putting all my time on branding and marketing and filling my pipeline and you know what I mean? Isn't it crazy how one dude is making $400-500 a haircut as a barber doing a freaking taper fade, and one dude's making $8? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
But one guy just counted the cutting hair as work. That's not work, though. That's my point, is that your calendar is the result of everything else, but the calendar is not what gets you free.
Yes. And so let's say, let's take your original example, right? I look at my calendar for tomorrow and I have a 2, a 4, and a 6. Okay. But my end goals, that's not going to do it, right? Those 3 appointments, it's not going to get me a little closer to my end goal.
Because I don't want to 1, 2, 4, 6 for the rest of my life.
Exactly. So what's the action plan?
So, let's go through it. Give them a couple key points. Number 1, by Friday, my calendar's full.
With what?
Now, with appointments. But I don't fill my calendar. This is something most people aren't going to understand what I'm talking about. They think I'm crazy. Me running an appointment at 2:00 does not put appointments on my calendar. You understand that? That's what I'm trying to get through to people, is that's not the magic. I'm going to run the appointments because that's the exchange. That's what money is. It's an exchange. I run an appointment. I put a $1 million policy in place for a family. It pays me $3,000 commission. It's an exchange for a service. I provided them a service or a product, and I got paid to do it. And they got the better end of the deal, by the way, because that policy is going to pay them way more than it ever pays me. So boom, that's it, done. But that's not the magic. The magic comes from what? Me making calls, or my assistant making calls on our behalf, or something going on, so that when we get to Friday, like today's Friday, we're filming this on Friday the 7th. When we get to Friday, next week is already what? Filled. Why is it filled?
Because there's appointments on there.
And the appointments got there how? Because someone made calls.
Yes.
So that was working outside of the calendar. But we plan ahead. How long have we had that philosophy that by Friday our calendar's filled?
I feel like it's been
since the beginning.
Since the beginning, yeah.
Since the beginning. I don't know where I got that concept from, but I
think in the beginning, you did not have appointments. And
right.
We've talked about this before. So he was like, okay, I have this whole day where I'm full time and I need to make something happen. So I'm going to go prospecting, and you just started working those hours. So it's a habit that's built up.
But see, prospecting, is that something on the calendar or off the calendar? You may add prospecting to your calendar, but when I'm talking about working outside of your schedule, is that prospecting is the extra work that you do when your schedule ends.
Yes.
That's the thing. It's like, it's all the extra. What are all the stuff people don't do in the business? They don't prospect.
Yes.
They don't recruit because they don't prospect.
Yeah, talk to their teammates.
They don't talk to their teammates.
Challenge them.
They
Yeah,
don't
run
them.
extra skill sets training.
And all this is what? Outside of the schedule.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're finding yourself like that same situation where your 6 cancels.
This is good shit.
We almost went the whole training without,
That would have been a fail.
Okay.
But if you find yourself with appointments canceling, what do you do?
Yeah, like that 6:00 cancels, then you're like, all right, so I have a gap in my schedule. So let me go do some of those things that we were talking about that are going to generate and build.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so you're making phone calls to the team. You're prospecting. You are, hey, let's jump on a real quick 30, 45-minute training.
Right.
Things like that. Things that are actually going to maybe not in the moment transactional, client-wise,
right.
But in the end, it's going to be a good investment.
Right. And that's what I refer to as magic space on my calendar.
Magic space.
Which is empty space. Empty space, to me, today, is the most magical, best space on my schedule. Because in that empty space or that magic space that I always call it, that's when I could do everything Ronnie just said. And everything Ronnie just said is what builds my retirement. Running the appointment pays the bills. But that empty space is what builds my retirement. Now, some of you are like, well, shit, my calendar is full of magic. Because all I have is empty space. Now, that's not good either, okay? Because that means that you're not doing any magic with the magical space on your calendar. Because that space should fill the calendar. But now if I have 4, 5, 6 appointments, like today, my last appointment was at 4:30.
Yes.
That's very rare. I had a 6:30, it rescheduled. And then usually I don't have anything open in the evenings, but so today I do. Well, guess what? That's magical time that I have now. That's time for me to work on me. That's time for me to make calls to the team, to prospect, to get on Instagram and start conversating with people. Like that's all magical space. But most people do what?
Just chill.
They chill. They go, hell
like,
yeah,
oh,
baby. Put on suits.
Free time for me.
We could get 10 episodes in tonight instead of 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's free time. And it's, I'm going to go
Yeah.
to the gym. Going to the gym's good.
Yeah.
But call your team. Prospect. Network. Do that kind of stuff while you're at the gym. Use it. Make it magical space, not dead space.
And then when you do, at the end of the day, when it's like midnight or whatever, when your day actually ends, then you would have earned that, you know, you time, that time for you to take a bath, you know, bubble bath, or
I don't fit in the bath.
Yeah. Or watch Suits, which, you know, is a good TV
Great show.
I recommend it.
You can learn a lot from it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's not bad to want to do those things. It's good to take a break, but make sure it feels so much better when you earn it.
I do all my recruiting at night.
Yeah.
Right. From what hour to what hour do I do all my
like
recruiting?
Midnight to 3 o'clock in the morning.
Literally, right?
Yeah.
I've had a direct for over 65 months in a row.
Yeah, and I think the last 3 months it's been 3.
3 to 5 every single month. I had one that didn't hit the calendar last month. But every single month. And when is it done? Midnight till 3 a.m. She's not lying with you. If we're watching from midnight to 3 a.m. is when we watch TV or something, because we refuse to do it during business hours.
Yeah.
So from midnight to 3, we're sitting on the couch watching, you know, Suits or something. But I'm on my phone prospecting, relationship building, like the whole time, nonstop. And then the next day I wake up and I carry out whatever conversations went through, and boom, we get a direct, you know, and we do that 2-3 times a week. It's a wrap.
Yeah.
But that's working outside of your calendar. That's the magic of it. It's working outside of your calendar. Another thing, working outside of your calendar, is that always to be ready. It's positioning. This is a game of positioning. What do I mean by that?
I mean, you should always be ready to prospect somebody, to run an appointment. You know, if you are, let's say, you know, you look at your schedule for the next day and you're like, cool, I have a 1 o'clock, I have a 2 o'clock, and then I have a 3-hour gap. You know, but if after your 2 o'clock appointment, you change into your jammies, you know, to take a nap or something like that, and somebody calls you with, hey, can you run this appointment?
When is it? In 5 minutes. Oh my man. No, I'm not gonna be ready.
You know, or you're at McDonald's or whatever, you know, like you're not in a position to be able to run an appointment.
Right.
So you just missed out
Yep.
on some activity that you could have, you
Yep.
know, logged for the day.
I got so good in the beginning because of this rule right here, which was positioning.
Yeah.
You know, I was always in the office, whether I had appointments or not. Always. I was 21 years old. Did not look like $1 million. And I was always in the office, whether I had appointments or not, because I was working outside of my calendar.
Yeah.
Like work ethic, obsession, I've had it since the very beginning. So I was sitting there in my cubicle, and before I had a cubicle, I was sitting in the cubicle I wasn't paying for, trying not to get in trouble. And I was always there, though. And there's a lady, the sweetest lady on the planet, named Louise Haig, who I love to death. And Louise had a one-on-one come in one day. And she's like, it was unqualified. It was a college student. So she's like, hey, Jay. She comes over and she finds me, hey, Jay, do you want to run an appointment? And I'm like, yeah, sure. What is it? She's like, oh, I have a girl coming in. Her name's Mandy. I still remember like yesterday. Her name was Mandy. And she goes, her name's Mandy. and it's a recruiting appointment, but I'm double booked. And so if you could run it for me, and if you recruit her, you could train her. Well, hey, it was a game of positioning. I was there. Nobody else was because they didn't have appointments, so they were at home. And so I'm like, yeah, sure. I sat down. I freaking killed that shit. And I recruited Mandy. And I remember to this day, I recruited her. She played basketball at APU. Then guess what? She's like, oh my gosh, you recruited her. I'm like, yeah, of course I recruited her. That's what I do. And dude, I don't only been in the business like 2 months. And she's like, all right, well, train her. All positioning. I took her in the field. Sat down with a girl. Her name was Angela. She was a point guard at APU. They won a national championship that year. Recruited her. She's like, oh my gosh. Well, next thing you know, I'm learning by running all these appointments when I had none. But why did I get this opportunity? I was working outside of my calendar. I was in the office. I was hungry. I wasn't going to be at home with Ronnie going, what is your ass doing home all day?
Yeah.
Why are you here? We have bills to pay, dude. Get to work. I thought you're making this thing work. So it was a positioning game. I would stand outside of people's offices and be like, listening their whole appointments. While they're making calls, I'm listening. I'm taking notes. When they're having leadership meetings, I put a chair outside the door and I'm taking notes. Like I was always in a position to learn, working outside of just my 2, 4, and 6.
Yeah. And by the way, I always get the question because, he started in business, full time while I was working and going to school and like paying the bills and supporting us. And a lot of people always ask me, did I ever get frustrated with him? Because obviously I'm supporting us financially. And he wasn't making any money, right, in the beginning. And my answer is always no, because when I went home at the end of the day, or in between school and work or work and school, he wasn't sitting on the couch in his jammies, eating. He wasn't there. He was out. He was working. He was trying to figure it out. And I understood that. And so if he wasn't, if he was home all day, if I called him in the middle of the day and he's like, yeah, I'm just watching Days of Our Lives, then we probably would have had some issues. So if you're on the receiving end of some frustration, maybe take a look at the activity and ask yourself if you're really working, because your, significant other, partner, whatever you want to call it, knows and can tell. I could tell that he was working. I could tell he wasn't just sitting at the office, doing nothing.
Right.
So that's a question to ask yourself. Are you actually working?
Right. And I refuse to not make money. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people struggle with is, how long are you okay with not making money in the business? It took me about 4 months to figure out how to make money. Like when we go back and we look at our cash flow report, it took about 4 months. And in that 4 months, man, it was a constant focused effort and obsession. Mm-hmm. Focused effort and obsession. Not just, I'm putting out effort. It was focused effort. Mm-hmm. It was the difference between blowing a shotgun and shooting a sniper rifle. Is that a shotgun just like shoots everywhere. It's not focused in one spot. Where a sniper rifle puts one bullet right between your eyes, and that's about it. And so I had a focused effort and obsession, which is that I was constantly in a pursuit of making money. And just like getting good. And all that happens out of the calendar. You remember like we got a desk.
Yeah.
We turned the front bedroom into an office. Yeah. We got a lamp just because it's supposed to go on a desk, right? We got some little organizers and stuff. And I was just constantly trying to make it work. Mm-hmm. It was a focused obsession.
Yeah. Remember, guys, there's a learning curve to everything. So whether you've just got here or you've been here for a while and you haven't mastered something specific, maybe closing, maybe making money, maybe building, there's a learning curve to everything. And it's up to you how long you want it to take. So for him, it was 4 months, but he was consistently putting himself in a position to focus on it and to work on it. Just like, you've seen and met people who it took them 8 years to get an AA degree.
Right.
Does it take 8 years to get an AA degree? Associate's degree? Right?
No,
That's what it's called?
I don't think so.
An AA?
It takes 2, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to take, and some people can get it in a year, but that's just because they just decided, all right, I'm going to get it done within this period of time, and they collapse time frames by taking more classes, getting more work done, staying up later. So it's up to you. But if you're only working, 2 hours a day, then you're expanding that time frame that it's going to take you to get to from where you are to where you want to be.
Right. 2 hours a day. And for a lot of times, the 2 hours a day is not a focused obsession. It's not a focused effort for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And we just love the game. Mm-hmm. Because I love the game, I don't just play the game on game day. That's the difference. Is I love the game, so it's what I do all day. When you love the game, you come home and you practice. When you get a chance, you practice. When you love the game, you always have your gym shoes in the car because you never know. You never know when you might get a chance to play. That's what an athlete does when they love the game. You talk to a basketball player or any athlete, I guarantee you they got a basketball in their trunk. A soccer player's got a soccer ball in their trunk. A football player's got a football in their trunk. Vice versa. They always got their gym shoes. They've always got extra set of gym clothes. Every gym rat has gym clothes in their car because they never know when it's like, hey, you want to work out? Yeah, I actually have my stuff. That's my point. Is it's this love for the game, and I'm always in a position to play. Well, in the business, when we call you and you're like, oh, I can't do an appointment. No, I'm actually out. I'm not dressed. It's like that's what you're missing, and I think that's the difference between the person who just makes a couple bucks here and there, even if it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 grand a month, but the person that gets big. It's working out of your calendar.
Boom.
This is like my favorite topic ever.
This is the gold. So if you didn't catch it the first time.
And we almost didn't do it because I told her last week this topic and I was like, nah, let's just keep it for the team. And then we trained on it. But we want everybody to win.
Now we're sharing the love. So if you didn't catch it the first time you listened to it, go back and listen to it again. However many times it takes for you to grasp the concept and then execute. Yeah,
I don't think we've done a better topic.
No. This is the magic. Like you said, this is the magic. This is the extra.
Yep. And for you, you may go, this wasn't that good. I didn't get anything out of this. Well, then that means you need to go back to the other topics first because you're not here yet.
Yeah. You come back to this one.
And we don't say it insulting, but it means that you're still mastering the skill sets in the system. And so that's why this maybe didn't hit you right.
That's okay.
Yeah, for sure. That's why we got 37 topics and not one.
Yes, exactly.
Boom. All right, guys. We appreciate you. We appreciate all the love.
Yes, and support. Thank you guys for the comments. Subscribing on YouTube, subscribing on podcasts and Spotify, all of the above. If you have all of the above, we appreciate it. And as always, leave us some suggestions on YouTube.
Boom. We're out.
Peace out, guys.